pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. We'll take a roll call here. Permanent quorum, Councilor Baumgartner. Here. Evers. Here. Ferguson.
Here.
I am here. Mr. Howard is absent today, but we do have a quorum. Call the meeting to order. And we'll start the meeting off here with the public forum. This is the time where members of the public can address council. We do ask if you do come forward that you please state your name for the meeting record. Generally speaking times are limited to 3 minutes, and if there's any unfinished business at the end of the public forum, we can absolutely, direct staff or a council person to continue the conversation. So if anybody from the public wishes to address council, now's a good time.
Hi. Thank you. I am Sue Hilgert, longtime resident of the city of Olivia. And what I would like to address the council to tonight is a Minnesota statute that I discovered, statute 211B.045, non-commercial sign exemption. And I will read it, it's pretty brief. All non-commercial signs of any size may be posted in any number beginning 46 days before the state primary in the state general election year and 10 days following the general election, the state general election. Municipal ordinances may regulate the size and number of non-commercial signs at any other times. In other words, what this is saying is that political signs from the election of last fall should be removed 10 days afterwards. And we have a few of them around town. And I just guess my feeling on this is that I think it sends a real lack of respect for the ordinance and or for the statute itself when there is a state statute that says, these should be removed. That here we are, towards the end of February, and we still have these up. So I just want to alert the council to this issue and to see what can be done to take care of that. I mean, it isn't it's not the flag issue, it isn't the free speech issue, but this is a state statute.
Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't know it was a state statute, and I'm tired of seeing them signs too, so I'd like them gone.
So I'm not exactly sure, and maybe the chief knows more about what could be done, but it just seems to me that we should, I think it just.
Let's ask people first, right? Hey.
Absolutely, absolutely. Say they don't know, it's an education thing. Some people don't know this. Do they know these signs are supposed to be removed? And if they're not removed, then they should be removed. I think it just says something about how we treat our community. We want to abide by state statute, and we want it to look neat, and some people are offended by them. So that is all I want to share with you tonight. So
thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else from
you, Chief?
Anybody else from the public want to address council? Seeing none, we'll close down the public forum portion of the meeting and move on to the setting of the agenda. We've received the agenda here ever since Thursday, had some good time to look at it. We can take a look at the consent agenda. If anything you wish to pull out of the consent agenda and move into a discussion or a business item, this is the time to exercise that option.
Mr. Mayor, can we take the fence updates off of the agenda? We're gonna push that to March. There was a couple of new information and we're getting a couple more quotes just to confirm that those are the best prices for the project. So I just wanna remove those from the agenda and we'll bring it back up again in early March.
Any heartburn there?
No.
I'll call for a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the adjustment of removing discussion item A.
So move.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Ferguson, seconded by Evers to approve tonight's agenda, omitting discussion item A. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Agenda is set. Moving down to the consent agenda here, it includes the meeting minutes from the February 3rd meeting. The 2024 Distributed Energy Resource Report, Marcus Construction Pay Application number 4, and a Marco quote for some network infrastructure. I'll call for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Baumgartner, seconded by Ferguson to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Consent agenda carries as written. Moving down to discussion items, if you'll recall, we have removed item A from discussion items, so we'll move on to item B regarding discussion of the Olivia Chrysler Center. We have Pam with us to update us on how negotiations are going.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. So in the packet, I believe it's in the packet, it's been added, right, Elizabeth? I didn't scroll all the way down. You will see what we think is the final copy for the purchase agreement. This has been drafted and through a few iterations between myself and opposing counsel. As you know from my previous updates, there was some communications and conversations about the road. After much discussion, the Olivia Chrysler Inc. has agreed to go with the proposed language that, and if you want to scroll down to where it's at, Elizabeth, it's towards the end, that if there is development, that the city would just basically follow its statutory duty of noticing and setting a date of hearing for a potential vacation. And then whoever is on that future council can hold that hearing, hear from public, have the conversation and make the decision related to the vacation and the parameters around there. So this is what the result is of the negotiations between us for paragraph 14. So I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to read that. You'll notice that after you've reviewed the agreement, the resolution in the packet is approval of the agreement, but contingent on a termination agreement and a new lease. So a termination of the existing lease where they are tenant and then a new lease, which would be us, the city as tenant for that portion of the building that we currently are in, and to be able to continue to stay there. I have not seen those agreements yet. The terms are just, as you notice in the agreement, been referred to as substantially similar. So I don't know what that means. So the resolution itself is contingent upon the further negotiation of those agreements and then approval by the council of that future termination and new lease. So that provides a basic overview. I'm open for any questions. You'll also notice that the purchase price in the purchase agreement was discounted by the amount of our cost share of the HVAC system, which council had agreed to in the last meeting to approve as a reduction of the purchase price. And so this purchase agreement does reflect that too. So that is also another update.
Pam?
Do you have a signing date?
So they proposing April 15th for closing and or sooner. The due diligence period is 45 days, and the 45 days starts after the city provides them with a title survey. So I think I think they would be interested in closing before as well, but they do have that due diligence time built into the agreement.
I would just encourage you to get it done as soon as possible.
Any other questions or?
I just say, is there anything in here in the purchase agreement as far as creating a lease for the electrical department or some sort of guarantee that they're not gonna
Yeah, so that's why the resolution is written the way it is that your approval this evening, if the council so chooses to approve this evening would be contingent on the negotiation of the termination of the existing lease and the negotiation of a new lease where we're the tenant. And then those two documents would need to be approved by you as council before any type of closing would happen. So you'll have the opportunity to review that and be okay with it.
Well, thank you for the update, Pam. You know, it's been a goal of this council to continue the ball on this, and it sounds like we're getting very close, so we appreciate your diligence. I know it's been a been a lot of back and forth for you as well, and we're excited to close this deal. All right. Okay, we'll move down to resolution 2025-17. The authorizing of the approval of real estate purchase agreement with Olivia Chrysler Center and delegating authority to the city administrator.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve resolution 17. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Okay.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. Okay, next up on the discussion items is item C, the policy for utility bill credit and reimbursement for solar panel users.
Yeah, so this is a policy that has been reviewed at the PUC level. So it outlines our procedures and guidelines for handling utility bill credits and reimbursement for customers who utilize solar panels or other renewable energy systems and that are eligible to receive a credit from their utility provider. So we currently only have one user, but in the future, we could have more. So this is just to make sure that they are all handled the same. So how PUC has recommended to handle this is that at the end of each calendar year, before the rates change, the city then pays out the credit at those rates that the credit was earned. We don't want utility customers to keep rolling over credits to cash them in at a higher rate that they didn't earn them at. And so we would be looking at, they can write to the city requesting the credit, but we also reserve the right at the end of the calendar year around November to look at their account, see what we're gonna have to pay out at the end of the year.
So they'll be able to request it anytime during the.
They'll be able to request it if they want, yes. Right now, most people just roll them over.
Sure.
And so they're building up quite a balance.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, and again, our goal is to make sure that we're paying them back at the end of the calendar year before any type of rate changes.
Is that your catch, Matt?
No, it wasn't a catch, it was just there.
Oh.
And this doesn't conflict with our current contract for power?
It does not, no. So it was actually recommended when we were discussing specifically with MMPA how to handle these situations.
Okay.
They recommended that we put a policy such as this in place to make sure that we were handling things uniformly.
That's good. Yeah, 'cause I guess I was always told we can't do that because of our contract.
No, we
Yeah, I remember that, being told that too. Yeah.
The city
Yeah.
can't generate, but
Yeah.
individuals can.
Yeah. And so this is the city with the individual.
No, I think it's great.
So, if you guys approve, we'd appreciate a motion to approve the policy and we'll implement it moving forward. We do, we can change it moving forward if we find something has changed and it's written into the policy that will notify customers in writing before any changes occur.
I'll make the motion to approve.
One second. Motion's been made by Brett Baumgartner, and seconded by Evers to approve the policy for utility bill credits and reimbursement for solar panel users. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Alright,
All opposed, same sign. Policy carries as written. We'll move down to discussion item D on cannabis updates.
So this is just to kind of give an information, so the cannabis licensing application is open until March 14th. Cities or counties wishing to operate a single municipal cannabis store may apply for a retailer license during the application window. Our municipal retailer licenses are not subject to a lottery. But once low potency hemp products transition into a required OCM license, so those are those low potency drinks and edibles that our liquor store sells, we will have to apply for that type of license as well if we wanna keep going that path. As we currently understand the field, this could change, so that's why I say as we currently understand, it's prohibited to hold both a cannabis retail and a low potency hemp license.
Oh. That makes all kinds of sense.
While a
No.
municipality would still be able to sell hemp derived products within a cannabis store, they won't be allowed to sell them in their liquor store.
So
So
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, I don't think that that's correct.
That's what we were communicated with through like the email through the cannabis group. But this is where, again, as we currently understand it, we might need to do some more digging. So
Yeah.
our questions here are what type of route or what additional questions would you all have as we attempt to gather more information on this topic? Are we pursuing, are we as a city choosing to pursue a cannabis retail license while we get more information? You know, once you have a license, you don't necessarily have to open, but then you have questions, the application asks you for questions on where is it gonna be housed and things like that. So we're trying to understand as staff to help you make the best informed decisions as possible on what type of questions do you have around a municipal dispensary if we even wanna go down this road.
If a municipal gets a license for regular cannabis here, does that exclude other entrepreneurs from opening up or
No.
obtaining a license?
No, municipal cannabis dispensaries are not subject to the cap. Remember, you didn't set a cap, but the county might. But regardless, if we have a municipal dispensary, it doesn't count against the cap at all.
What is the fee for a license?
$2,500 is your application fee, your initial license fee is $2,500, and your renewal license fee is $5,000.
Annual renewal?
Currently, yes, an annual renewal.
I'm sure they'll make it up though.
Yeah,
So that's what you're looking at for those types of fees at the moment.
if we were to open up a municipal cannabis dispensary, this would need to be in a completely separate facility, does that sound correct?
Correct, that is correct.
We could not just retrofit the old bar
Right.
to work, it would have to be a completely separate location.
Mm.
That we would most likely
Staff.
purchase,
Right.
staff.
Can we keep doing what we're
Renovate.
doing now if we don't get this license?
We would have to get a low potency license, but as I understand it, you could still sell it as part of your municipal liquor, those low potency beverages and gummies. Is that how you understand it, Pam?
That's correct. So the council kind of has two different things to talk about right now, tonight. One is, do you want our liquor store to still sell the beverages that are the THC beverages? If so, then we just need to apply for a low potency cannabinoid retail license for our liquor store location. Separate from that is if we want to have a dispensary, then we have to apply for a cannabis license and so that would be separate. The issue I see is that we don't have a location for it. And for us to do an application, you have to identify the location and provide some other information. So I feel as though that's maybe a couple steps ahead of where council is at right now. I know that Elizabeth received information from different organizations and including, I think, the Office of Cannabis Management, that the license period is open right now, or is going to be open soon, which is true. That is a fact. But it's not from my perspective of reading it, but again, that would be something that I would defer to the Office of Cannabis Management since they're the decision makers. But since municipal dispensaries don't count against licenses, it would seem as though to make sense that at any time when you want to pursue and you have a location, then you can be able to apply at a later
So then
date.
The application closing date doesn't count for the city.
The
We have
application
to
closing,
confirm.
yeah, the application closing date would count for the city, but I think for the time being, but because we don't impact the number of licenses, I would assume that they're not going to keep that application period closed forever. But that would be something that we would need to check with the Office of Cannabis Management.
Okay, so once it is closed, we can't apply until.
I don't think anybody can apply once it's closed, but I don't think, it doesn't make sense that they would close that forever, but they do need to give us a firm answer on that.
And this is a question we as a city have already asked the OCM and we haven't received any guidance yet. So we are trying to seek that clarification. And certainly they have virtual office hours on Thursday. We will re-ask that question. Because right now we're only being told the licensing window is open until March 14th. We don't know if once it's closed, if there's a different way municipalities can still apply since we're not part of that cap. If they plan to open a licensing window in the fall, if it's a once annual thing, we don't know.
So is there any way that we could, or would anybody wanna entertain having a workshop about this? Like soon here to have a bigger discussion about it? To see how you're feeling, or are we leaning towards no, that it doesn't
It's the
matter to
especially
go
if you
into
have
it?
to have a holding facility.
Well, does
Well, I'd
it have
rather-
to be a whole new one, could be the other
Yes.
side of the liquor
No,
store?
it has to be a new
You
one.
No,
can't-
I think the other thing we need to check into is I don't believe that it can be a shared location with a liquor store.
And what if we blocked off the center, like so that it was two separate entries and there was no access in between?
I could certainly get that information by the time that we have a workshop. Yeah.
Jasmine's saying it can't share a wall, that's her understanding. But we can,
We can look into that further.
Just to rewind a little bit, what's the license fee for the low potency? Do we make a return on that at the liquor store?
Application fee is $250. Initial license is $250.
That's addressed.
250 for low potency?
It seems to me we don't really have enough information nor input from staff like then
No.
about it,
Well,
this will be something we want.
And this is why I'm trying to gather what questions you all have so that we can come to you with a better
I
idea.
wanna hear from Nanette if she's.
But it wouldn't even be Nanette,
It would-
and Nanette wouldn't be
couldn't
running it, it would be a whole different department, a whole different.
We'd have to hire somebody new anyway.
Yeah, you would probably have to hire, similar to your liquor store, you would need to hire a manager, assistant manager, and part-time clerks.
Then you'd really need a market study to see if there's any profit to be had there, so I don't think it's worth doing now.
No, we're not even making money with our liquor store, I don't.
As-
We're wasting money with
No.
trying to explore something that's never been tested. Yeah, initial reports seem like, yeah, it might spike right away, but. Long term, who knows? And to me, as a city, we shouldn't be pursuing business operations.
It'd be nice if private industry came in
It's,
to do that.
yeah, that's what. private-
Your THC sales per the annual report last year, 11,489.
That was,
Yeah, and they tripled or something, but it's a low number.
Yeah, it's a 131.58% increase in sales.
I suspect it'll keep going up for the next couple of years, but if we can just keep doing what we're doing, I think that's the right course of action now.
That would be my recommendation.
But you can gather information from staff and, you know, I mean, maybe Annette is the most relevant experience to provide information to see what trends are and if she hears anything out there. But boy, getting a new facility, $10,000 in licensing fees, having to hire new people, it seems like a money pit.
Yeah, if anybody thinks that we're missing out on a huge enterprise situation, let us know, but it's.
Yeah, the other thing to consider is the insurance piece of it. And so that is something that you'd want to have more information about if there's an insurer who would insure the location and for employees. As far as if that's going to impact any of our insurance for our employees. So at that location.
So what I'm hearing is that we should continue pursuing the low potency licensing option to keep those low potency options in our liquor store, but staff does not need to go down the road of seriously offering the option of a municipal dispensary.
I think that's the consensus.
Yeah.
So
If that changes at any time, of course, we can move a different direction, but I just wanna allocate staff time appropriately.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would say, is there a deadline for the?
so low potency, I believe it's in this window of until March 14th.
Oh.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think it's worth $100 risk for that because we have $11,000 return.
even if it is only an annual, registration window, I think we want a lot of planning if we were to decide to get into this.
Well, it's real money all of a sudden on our budget.
Okay. And this is what this discussion was, so I just wanted to get some good direction from council on which way we should be going. So we will certainly move forward with the low potency licensing. We'll start looking at that and get it through the application open until March 14th so that our liquor store can continue with those sales. We will pause on a municipal dispensary until you all tell me different.
Everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving down to reports. Any reports from staff?
They have held off on pouring some concrete due to the cold weather. But everyone is excited that next week looks a little bit better. For those types of activities, they have had rough-ins on the police department for electrical, for plumbing, for all of those mechanicals. The studs are up in the police department building as well. So things are moving quite along, which is very exciting. And those were EDA, instead of their regularly scheduled meeting this past week, they delivered Valentines to local businesses, letting them know that, our little outreach that says we love having you here. And it's a nice touch point to all of those different businesses. So we enjoy doing it. It was our second year delivering Valentines.
It's kind of nice to get some updates from some of those businesses, see how things are going. Any other reports from staff?
Mr. Mayor, Council, can I just circle back on the 211B.045, just conversation quickly?
The what?
That was part of public comment.
Signs, sure.
Oh.
I just want to point out that state law is for not limiting the number of signs during that election time, whether it's private or public property, but that our sign code still applies. And as our sign code is written right now, which by the way is getting updated, our sign code is currently in the process of getting updated. But as it's written right now, those types of signs on private property we don't have any regulation over. But as I mentioned, our sign code is getting updated.
And that's per our code, but the state statute does have on private property as well?
No, the state statute just says during election time, you can't limit the number of those non-commercial signs. Meaning if people want to have 20 signs in their yard, they can do that. But it doesn't say that, the state law doesn't say that you're required to take all of those signs off of your private property after. And then what happens after that election season is your sign code then applies. So basically that's kind of a lift on any regulation from our sign code that would make it so that they couldn't have unlimited number. And then once that election period is done, then our city code applies again for related to those signs. And under our present city code as it's written, again, being updated, so it will be changed, those signs on private property in somebody's yard in a residential district are allowed. Now, if they're in the public right of way, that's a different story.
Thank you for clarification there, Pam. Any other reports from staff? Any reports?
Tracy, did you wanna mention the pool? The pool work is almost complete, they're finalizing
Really?
painting. And then once they get that done, then comes the fairly long process of filling the pool, chemicals, temperature, everything like that. So, but they are completing work on the pool, which is very exciting. And so right now, we're just planning on summer programming.
Do we dare?
No, we don't, we just say
Tuesday?
we're working on it.
No? It's too soon? Okay. Thank you.
We don't talk about a date, we just say it's going well.
Any other reports from council?
Just the PUC meeting, we got the 125th anniversary of having public utilities and such. If there's any ideas that y'all have about how we might celebrate that, please bring them forward.
For your electricity for your day?
That's one, right? Well, that's good.
No charging for electrical for a day? I tried.
All right, as Pam mentioned, we're, the planning commission met a couple weeks ago. We have two major objectives in front of us right now is, one of them is to reconfigure that sign ordinance. And we're getting really close on that one. Another objective is accessory buildings, and once those get through the planning commission, you know, we'll see them here at the council level, and we'll be able to get our eyes on it and either make adjustments or approve or whatever the case is there. That's the only, other than that's the only committee that I participated in the last couple weeks, so. All right, we have a couple fun notices and communications for all the fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
I'll have Elizabeth.
So, it looks like, everybody cross their fingers, knock on wood, it looks like Mother Nature may be cooperating for our winter party in the park this Saturday, February 22nd at Pension Park from 2 to 5. So we hope you'll come on out, enjoy some free hot beverages, hot cocoa, popcorn. We're gonna have a bonfire with s'mores. Our ice rink is there. We do have a snow pile. It looks maybe not as white because of the wind, but there is a snow pile there. And then we're also gonna have some snow painting activities. So we hope people will come on out and enjoy the park. And then for our snowplow name announcement, Scooby-Doo was the winner. So congratulations to Gabby Wordish for submitting the winning name. So we're gonna get a sticker to put the name Scooby-Doo on one of our city plows. So thank you for participating if you participated.
With that, it appears as if we have no further business to go before the council. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Ferguson and seconded by Evers to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.